Welcome to Reality After Show. Jonny is not here, but while Jonny's not here, me, Alex Trias Dan Montchal here, we are going to have some fun. We might get into a hall brawl ourselves because if you look at our screen, especially if you're on your phone, that's about the size of the hall brawl. So I think we would do pretty well. Dan, how are you doing? How did you enjoy the episode?
I'm doing great. We're going to dive into it. We obviously have our thoughts of the hall brawl. I also thought it was kind of weird that the backside of the hall brawl only had that little window for the contestants to see rather than, the full plexiglass side, but pretty good.
They don't got that budget for Challenge USA. Come on.
Fair enough.
And what an episode for Jonny to miss.
Yeah, I think he would have had a lot to say about this one.
I'll be better about it. And as we have transitioned to reality after show, like I will keep the expletives down and the jokes down because we like these people at the end of the day. But we start with the previously on both the cat people hold a meow meow of themselves and a cat. Yeah.
You had to get it in at least once this season, so.
You know what? We should have knew this was coming, that they were going to be the ones in the hall brawl because that's what they started them off with. It's like it seems that everyone who's been like going into the hall brawl or like is involved in it or the arena in some way have been being put in the intro for the previously on recently.
Yeah, no, the past few, I feel like if you were to look at all of them this season, that you'd probably say that 75% of the time, the person who goes home is in the previously on.
Yeah, it's very interesting. That's as much interest as I'm going to get with it. Okay, but we do find out TJ is getting rid of the algorithm, not because it's not perfect. It's not. What did we confirm? Perfectly random or randomly perfect?
I think we said randomly perfect was the way that we.
Okay, it's not the fact that it wasn't randomly perfect. He was just tired of the contestants bitching and complaining about it. So.
It was mostly just people complaining that they had to get stuck with Leo.
Or Enzo.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But no longer is it a partner game. It is now an individual game. Your life depends solely on yourself, which some people are happier with. And some people like Tyson are like, okay, well, this is where the people who have a lot of money are now very much more in danger.
Yeah, but I feel like for the most part, it kind of works out because most of the people that are left, minus there's 3 going into the episode 3, 4, have their money. So I don't think necessarily if you have all that money, you're in danger. It's just, okay, who's my best shot at stealing the money from if you're going in there? Because you just need to qualify. You don't need the most.
Yeah, and I think going into this, at the beginning of the episode, I think it's Enzo, Ben, Danny, and Sarah are the only ones who had not gotten the money to qualify for the final. Obviously, Enzo and Sarah won a little bit of money winning in an elimination previously, but Ben and Danny have not been in elimination and have not won a daily yet. So we're starting to see people starting to feel this out now. Like Tyson's very aware of well, if one of those guys go down and we don't do something to prevent this, I'm gonna get called down because I have the most money. And so it's definitely it puts the game and twists it a little more, which I'm a fan of. Let's see them really break through of just the show alliance. But congrats to all of them as the Survivor players all joke around to the Big Brother people. We've made the merge.
Next stage of the game.
What do you think their merch feast was?
Probably the same catering that they've been getting for the past, month and a half.
I feel like the last few seasons of the regular challenge, they've been doing a reward every now and then of the P6 of the Nutri-Grain and it's the proteins. I feel like that's what was waiting for them. Is oh, here's a bunch of P6. We're not going to advertise it though. That's only for MTV.
CBS doesn't need that advertising money. MTV does.
No. They're putting all that money into Dyer Fest and whatever fest they have for Big Brother right now. But they made the merge. Congrats. But it's funny that they start with that because then it really does become more of a Survivor episode. I feel almost
Yeah, you see a lot of them looking to, kind of looking together, and you even see a lot of, what you'll see as the Survivor season goes on is, hey, at this point we got to do what's in our best interests. And yes, you have the Tyson rift with Sarah and Ben, but if this is going to be our best interest moving forward to get to the end of the game, then that's what we have to do.
And I mean, at this point, it really only seems like it's a rift with Sarah, because we'll see it throughout the episode. Like Ben's trying to say yeah, I'm pissed that situation happened, but I need to focus on myself as well. Like I need to be more of a yes man. I need to create more bonds that are going to protect me if I do get the money to qualify for the final, because I think Ben as a competitor doesn't mind going against, and he says it, he doesn't mind going the hard way to win. He says in Survivor he was known for winning, which I don't think that's what I relate Ben to. He did win a lot in the pre-merge. He was a part of winning tribes a lot there. I don't recall how many individual immunities he ended up winning, if at all, on his season or on Winners at War. But we do know he won at finding advantages.
Yes, he's very good at that. And he still even mentions here that he was, he's really tight with Sarah and it's nice to have her there. But, from what I've heard, there was a little bit of a rift between Sarah and Ben after everything that happened with Tyson. So that also may have made it a little bit easier for him to make a deal that kind of excluded her a little bit.
Well, I did not hear about that. So enlighten the crowd, Dan.
So what I heard was that after, the first time Tyson threw Sarah in, that it was kind of Ben and Sarah arguing over whose fault it was. Sarah thinking, that it was Ben's fault that, Tyson didn't trust them, and when it was vice versa. And while they were both upset after the fact, that they both kind of were going back to Tyson saying, hey, we should really target Sarah or Ben because that's the reason that this happened. Now, and this all came from Tyson, so who knows what all of it is true, but it's what he said. And then he also said, but at the same time, they were also sharing cigarette breaks together. So not entirely sure what was true and what wasn't, but from all accounts, there was a little bit of a rift between the two.
And I'm sure it was very quickly rectified as well, just because they're still at least showing on the show they're working together. Mm-hmm. They want to protect each other. They both want to get to the final together. But we do see Danny and Ben having a conversation, and I think Danny's playing this very well. This is where I'm why didn't we see more of this on actual Survivor with him? Because he was doing this. It's his social game. People are a lot more disarmed near him, and he's talking about with Ben. It's yeah, I think Survivor. I understand it's an individual now, but I think we should get as many of us to the end as possible. All at the meantime, Danny's look, I will go against anybody to get my money. I ain't going home without money. Kiki will not let me back into this house if I do not have the moolah.
Well, yeah, and if he's able to keep the peace, it also makes it easier that if he can't win, if he has all the friends that are in power, he can go to him and say, hey, throw me into elimination. I need it.
Exactly. And ultimately, because we do see, obviously he doesn't go into the hall brawl. He could have easily won that hall brawl, got some money, but this point's going to be driven home this episode. It's just when Enzo's the one that lost, you lose so much incentive to want to go down there because you're not getting the money needed to gain access to the final.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's if you flipped in Leo fell while sprinting like a maniac across the runway, sure, you go in because he has 9,000, and Danny goes in there and he mauls him. He probably just picks him up and carries him. To be honest, mm-hmm. But I think Danny's been playing this a lot better, and they're Danny's been one of those consistent confessional people, right up there with Tyson and Dom. I would say Dom was quiet at the beginning, but they've been giving him more consistency as the episodes have gone on. So I feel now reading the edit a little bit, you're starting to see the people that are like, okay, they're going to get to the final at least, if not be a major competitor in the final.
Yeah, and you're even getting, the little scenes with him. You get him throughout the challenge where he's involved, where it's not the confessional, but it's still more of Dom on the screen and Dom in the strategy talk. So you'd have to think that he's sticking around a little longer.
And it just goes to show, like, either people are not wanting to call Danny out. I think it's a combination of people don't want to call Danny out, both in terms of he can be intimidating just because of like his background, not him as a person, because like you see him as a person, and that's the other part, his social game. Like, he's very well liked. No one really has issues with Danny, but you also know if you go into a physical elimination against Danny, you're most likely not coming out the same person that you went in as.
No, absolutely not.
Like, go against him in a hall brawl or a pole wrestle. Like, no, I ain't about that life. I'll just give him the money and walk.
No thanks, Teach. You can make fun of me for being a quitter. I'm out.
I'm like, did you see this dude? No. But yeah, so we see Survivor, at least the Survivor guys are sort of on the same page of like, let's protect each other. Let's get as many of us to the final and just see how it goes. And obviously all of them have their own hubris in their mind of like, well, it doesn't matter who I'm against. As long as I'm there, I'm winning.
Yeah, and I think that really helps kind of let Tyson and Ben work together, have more incentive, because it's not the two of them, it's the four of them together. And so you don't have to love everyone in your four. Just do what's best for you to keep moving on.
No, absolutely. We already covered that Ben is willing to work with Tyson, wants to beat him in the final, does things the hard way. Danny will take anyone's money. We then get to Sarah's the only girl not qualified right now, but she has come to play for herself. And like, we'll get more into Sarah as the episode goes on, because like I'm pretty sure I wrote down the main points of her, but it's like you sort of did expect Sarah to be performing better in the dailies, and maybe it is just the fact that like just so happens that the partners she's connected with on the days for those specific dailies, they just weren't able to get top 3. But like up to this point, before this episode, she was never in the top 3 of any daily competition.
Yeah, I don't know what it is that's just not translating, but for whatever it is, we just haven't seen it. Now, I still think that she is someone that you don't want anywhere near a final if you're anyone on that side, but for these daily competitions, it's just, I don't know what it is.
It's interesting. And like, I know everyone has like their own opinions of Sarah, the person, Sarah, the player. Like, is she arrogant? Sure. But like, part of me is like, it's reality TV. You sort of need to have some of that cockiness and arrogance to like be a compelling character, especially if you're more of like a monotoned, like, she doesn't have a lot of levels in terms of like how she talks. So she's not getting to you in that sense of like, I can get louder, I can get softer. But like, you can tell behind those eyes, like there's a menace there. Like she will fight. Like she's not afraid to do it, even if she doesn't win, but she's confident in her abilities that she can.
Yeah, I'd almost draw a little bit of a comparison to, now I will say with the caveat that she is much smarter, but of someone like Nelson, because Nelson has never won a daily in his challenge career, but it's someone that in a one-on-one battle, you don't want to go against him. Like, he's an absolute animal. And I could see something similar with Sarah, where maybe it doesn't always translate to the dailies, but that isn't someone you want to go down into elimination against.
I will say I have full faith that Sarah could do a lot better on a final than Nelson can.
I didn't say it was the best comparison.
No, but there's sadly a lot of comparisons there. Extremely loyal to the people that they rock with. Will do well in most styles of eliminations. And like could crap out in a final, but could also do very well. Like, we don't know, but also just unfortunate luck in daily comps. Then we get another Ben scene. Like, everyone's sleeping, but Ben's not sleeping. And this is where we finally get the reveal that no one knows, because they never watched him on Survivor, that Ben was in the Marine Corps. But I'm not gonna make jokes about it because of like the topic of conversation here. It's the anniversary of one of his like buddies in the Marines, death. I assume it was death on duty. And it really calls back to like the outside world trauma that you deal with and how you channel it in a reality show and where you're forced to be vulnerable whether you want to or not. Like the camera crew's going to use this. Like this is going to become a storyline because they see that you're feeling a type of way. And this is like your chance, like you can either go full like make it a storyline or you can make it a true thing. And I feel like Ben, for the most part, to the best of his ability, was trying to make this like a true moment of like, because it is impacting him. And it was very interesting to see because when you throw that in there right before you go to a daily challenge, I'm thinking either he's coming in last and getting thrown into the elimination, and then it's like, oh, is this my time to shine for the pay respect to my friend? Like, this is what I'm fighting for now for this specific day. Or is he winning the daily?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a good moment for him. And, you know, we've talked about Danny, and it kind of reminds me, it's the same moment that kind of Danny had on Survivor, where it was, you know, he had opened up about his father, and then he went on and he won that individual immunity. So it's someone that, as you said, I think Ben was incredibly genuine about it. I may not be his biggest fan, but you know, it's something that obviously he was dealing with, he struggles with. And so I was happy to see it for him.
Yeah, and my friend John in the comments also just said like I missed it in the episode when I was watching it, but that this friend Blake, I think they said his name was, literally died in his arms. And that's something that will get trapped in your mind forever.
Yeah, I think now that, you know, John mentioned that, I believe that was brought up when they were out at the bar, or it was after the challenge where they were talking about that.
But yeah, so now we have some more motivation for Ben to get his money to run TJ's final, but also just like to feel like he's doing something for a bigger purpose, which leads us to the daily where we see a lot of people motivated to want to go and get a win today. Obviously, those that don't have the money yet, in Ben, in Enzo, in Danny, and Sarah, like we want to win, we want to gain some power here. But you also have the people who have control, like, or had control of their positioning, like in Angela and Tyson, like, I need the win just to protect myself right now. Like, I can't rely on the relationships I've had so far. Like, I need to get this to rebuild everything because this is a new stage of the game where you can taste the final now. And when people can start tasting it, that's when more messiness in these shows tend to happen.
Yeah, and nothing really became of it, but you saw on most of the pairs that were running for this challenge, you know, someone of the opposite sex, it was someone who they weren't trying to throw them off whatsoever. You see him a lot trying to, hey, let's get the soap off, make it easier for him, because if I can't win, I want someone in my alliance to win.
I wish they did a better job at pairing the people off.
Agreed.
I wanted to see slip and slides because it sort of takes the fun out of it. But let's get into it. It was having a blast. Cachet's thrilled because it's water. You know, she's very much a good swimmer. Very, very much so. She brags about it every episode. Just as much as Leo talking about how he's a cat or a lion in this episode. But so for having a blast, you begin riding on the back of a Zodiac. Then you will get up the speed to a tugboat that is dragging 2 runways that are covered in soap. You will jump from the Zodiac onto the runway, and you'll then be running back and forth between a key station and a safe on the other side, putting keys across the runway. And then once you put all 4 keys on the runway, you'll open the safe, get your flag, plant your flag where you're getting the keys from, and your time stops. Fastest man and woman will split 10K, and you'll be qualified to run TJ's final. It's only a man's elimination, and the twist is 2 additional players, as we said, will be on the tugboat blasting you with water cannons. Honestly, I'll say, like, for a daily, I was fine with it. Like, it was a good daily in theory. If you had people who didn't like each other, like, you needed Sarah to be paired with Tyson.
Absolutely.
Like, you needed like that type of dynamic of like people who don't really care for each other be like, I'm gonna make sure this is extra slippery for you, bro. Like, because we see how it happens. It's like just because of conversations that Sarah could have won if you had a better, like, if everyone wasn't just letting everyone get a fair chance of getting this done, it allows Angela to beat her.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same way now, so Angela probably did have an extra leg because Dom was also spraying down the end of Angela's, but I mean, Ben was doing the same thing for Sarah, so
Yeah, Ben and Enzo both had all the time in the world to do Sarah's because Kayla DQs. I felt so bad for her and Desi, but I also had to laugh because I also know that would have been me in like my current state. Would be like, oh, I can make this jump, and it just keeps sliding past.
yeah, I mean, especially when you see that it's someone like Desi, like Kayla isn't the first person that you pick, but someone like Desi, you think, oh, Desi's great in challenges, she's going to do awesome, but it doesn't
You're not
take
gonna be
much
great
to
at
just slide
everything.
off. Yeah.
We also see so Ben and Enzo start off, and we see Enzo on the jump, uh, hits something and cuts himself in the leg. So I also hope that they did a very good job cleaning it off after he was done, since everyone else went after him.
This is the challenge. I wouldn't bank on that.
Well, also the water itself isn't good, so I hope he didn't get infected as well. But Ben, you could clearly see was playing motivated and was really racing along. He finishes very quickly. Enzo finishes a lot after. Then we get Sarah and Kayla. Sarah does a good job, but Kayla falls right off. This is where we start getting the Angela Sarah storyline of like Angela saying like, I don't trust Sarah at all. Like, we were working together up until Tyson puts her and Leo in, and then she hasn't said one word to me since. Makes sense to not like her then.
Yeah, of course. Then you also have Sarah's line that's coming that Angela's done nothing this challenge to impress me.
Oh, we are getting there.
Oh, no, sorry. Don't want to jump ahead.
Okay, so we have Tyson and Dom, and Tyson thinks Angela's the best ally he has ever had on any show he's been on. And I wrote somewhere in the wild, most likely in the Amazon, where he was kidnapped by pygmies or whatever his story is. Coach is weeping.
Coach is upset. You know, Boston Rob wouldn't care. Jervis, Monica, all right.
I know some people have said like, but he played with his wife. I'm like, they were never on the same tribe.
No.
She got eliminated before he could even do anything with her in the game. Yeah.
So I mean, that's hey. I wouldn't. I don't think it's that big of a stretch to be like, yeah, I'd probably rather be paired with Angela as a partner than Coach. I don't think that's that far out there.
I'd also say Angela's pretty straightforward with him and very like she's done everything she said she would do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a straightforward game. Like the challenge is a straightforward game. Like there's nothing complicated about the show, the challenge outside of like once you see a twist, you're like, okay, this is how you deal with the twist, and then it's a game. You do a competition, you politic to not be put in elimination, and then elimination happens. Like that's all it is. So have someone that's reliable. And Angela, if we know anything about her in these shows, is she's reliable to her allies.
Yeah, I got nothing to add to that.
Yeah, so but Tyson and Dom do well. Like Tyson finishes before Dom, but Dom does finish. He does move well there. Alyssa and Angela and Cash go here, and this is where Tyson continues to make the deal with Dom. Like, hey, Angela winning will help us. She doesn't want to go against the Survivor guys. Like, we're good. Like, please, just like you have to trust me here. And Dom's like, against my better judgment, I am going to help him because I don't want the ramifications of what happens if I don't.
Yeah, and
makes sense.
Yeah, we just saw that deal that Angela made with Dom, and I get that it's a little bit different now that it's not partners, but you think, okay, there's no reason for them not to be on the same page, and as long as he trusts Tyson and the Survivor guys, go for it.
And I mean, like, the other thing that Tyson could have just said to him was like, well, hey, your other option is to spray the water off the Love Island girl, and you don't want your wife seeing that.
No, he can't go on the show and you be whipping your hose around a Love Island girl. His wife will not appreciate
Well,
that.
honestly, that's such a great transition. And I hope if you are doing that, it's a fresh and clean hose. And our our sponsor, Manscaped, has just the thing for you. We'll be right back.
Support for Reality After Show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. That's right, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code SURVIVOR at manscaped.com. If my math's correct, that's about 12 million balls.
The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, is it a game changer. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies.
First off, the Lawnmower 4.0, this trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever.
Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to help reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and has a 4000K LED spotlight that you need for a more precise shave.
Now, I have a dark shower curtain in my bathroom, and I've been looking for the perfect way to shave in the dark, kinda. Guess what? I found it! 4000K LED! No longer a problem. I got perfectly smooth, clean balls thanks to the Lawnmower 4.0.
It's time to take care of yourself, so go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code SURVIVOR. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SURVIVOR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Thanks for sticking with us through the ad break. And don't forget, for more exclusive Reality After Show coverage, visit realitypatron.com. That's reality, Patron.com.
Are you proud of yourself?
Just doing it for the sponsor.
So everyone, remember promo code SURVIVOR for Manscaped. Make sure you have a fresh and clean hose while you're whipping it around, spraying down Love Island girls too. Okay, so back to what we were talking about here. So this is where we get the quote from Sarah saying that Angela has had the easiest ride in this game and has not proved herself.
This is of the things that Sarah said this episode, this is the one that drove me second crazy. We haven't gotten to the first one yet. But yeah, I don't get what she wants. I mean, yes, it was partners, but Angela's already won twice. Angela's proven other times where she hasn't won, she's been in the running to win. So I don't know what exactly would impress Sarah here.
Well, Angela hasn't gotten an elimination. Angela hasn't gotten the blue collar way of getting into the sand. You gotta go touch grass sometimes, Dan. But
I guess so.
But you know what? Sometimes the grass is too high and you need to trim it, and you gotta use Manscaped for that. Promo code SURVIVOR. They love it when we do that. But yeah, it didn't make sense to me. I felt like it was more like it's like you put your issues that you have with yourself internally onto another person that you see as a threat. And we know no one's a threat to Sarah. No, we get it. No one's a threat to you. We get it. Angela's a threat to her in her mind. Like, that's like her stiff competition. Like, if I were to lose against anyone, if I get to the final, it's her. So I'm going to keep talking down on her because then that helps my ego. And that's just something you do. Like, that's what competitors do sometimes. Is just like, and I'm not here defending it because it's a stupid statement. But I've done it in the past when I was playing like soccer and basketball and like baseball when I was growing up. It was like, I would think the other people were just bad to help boost my own ego and help motivate me to play harder. Because really, you're really saying it about yourself, but you're just placing it onto someone else.
Well, yeah. And I mean, if you think about it, you brought up, playing sports growing up. the people that you're going to talk the most trash to, probably the better opponents. It's something that you're just looking for that little bit of an extra edge.
Exactly. And as a cop, Sarah has to have, always have to have a chip on your shoulder. You have to always be ready to go at a moment's notice. But Angela does very well here. So we know immediately it's most likely going to be between Angela and Sarah at the end. So David and Danny go. David's motivated because Danny's doing well. It's sort of, you know what? It's sort of nice seeing David not being a complete goon on these challenges anymore.
Yeah, he's not standing out, but he's at least doing respectable. He's doing
middle
what he's supposed to do. Yeah.
Middle of the pack. Like, is he? Do I think he's getting there? I don't think he's getting there. He'll get there and get purged. Because I have to assume there's only like one or two more guys that would go. Like, they could easily be going in with like 5 men, 5 women into the final, and then you have a purge. Maybe people quit. I don't know. Because as soon as it's not a 3-foot hall brawl, maybe people are like, "Oh, this is more complicated than I thought."
Yeah, and if it's something that Danny can't pick up a win somewhere, I think he'd be a good candidate for someone that Danny would want to go against, simply just because it isn't a survivor person, and depending upon what the elimination would be.
Well, just wait till you see that elimination is walk on a treadmill with a big weight on your chest or on your neck. He'll probably still win that too, but like it's not a common thing. But this is where we get the first Kiki line of, as Kiki has always said, ain't nothing more important than the moolah. Go get your money, baby. And to me, this is where I start going, oh, Danny, winner edit right here. Kiki said, nothing's more important than the money. He's winning.
Yeah, there's a few things that stood out to me that I didn't, maybe we don't see play out in this episode. And that was one of them. And then the other is coming up a little bit later by David.
Yeah. But, I don't know if people will understand the basketball reference, but I wouldn't be all for, like, we have you're running up the mountaintop, like, they win the final. Danny gets there first, and he has his, like, LeBron James moment when he gets the Cleveland Cavaliers a title, but instead of, like, yelling Cleveland at the top of the mountain, he's yelling, Kiki, this one's for you.
He's
just, like... He's waiting for his MVP trophy and everything. He's waiting. He's like, is Kiki here? Did you bring Kiki? No, she's back home. She can buy all the shoes she wants.
I'd have to imagine if he were to be the eventual winner that there's lots of love and shout out to Kiki.
There better be. I would be disappointed if there wasn't. But they both do well. Then we sort of finish up. We have Justine and Alyssa, and the main point that's being drove in here is this narrative throughout the season of like Alyssa's impressing a lot of people. The people that were doing well the whole season are like now noticing Alyssa, like she's competing well. She's doing pretty good. She'd probably be a good person to have on my side, just so that either we don't have to go against each other, or she's good here, but I also think I could still beat her if we got to the final.
Oh, absolutely. I think she's a good person that I would honestly be more surprised if she was someone who was targeted that was thrown into an elimination before we got to a final.
Yes. And then we get Desi DQing, but before she DQs, we have Leo, who, like a cat, is good on all surfaces except for in the water. Like, I think that was the motivation for him going so fast. Like, cats don't like the water. And we know his feelings about water. He's been thrown off a boat. He's scared. So he's sprinting across those. And I thought the entire time, I'm like, he's falling. Like, he's definitely going to slip up somewhere. Like, Desi forgets to get the soap off this one spot, and he's about to win and just goes.
That's honestly what I was waiting for, especially after I believe it was Danny who had the confessional that was like, oh, we were all expecting Leo to not make the jump, and I was expecting his demise to come later on. which
Right.
I guess technically it does, but I thought it was going to happen in this challenge.
Right. And we see like Tyson, especially because like we do hear Danny say like Leo's a wild card. What would you do? And I'm just thinking he's throwing Tyson down every
100%.
time because he's a snake. He's a rattlesnake or whatever he gave him. He gives a lot of people snakes. Later this episode because as we know, he is a very good sport.
Yeah, he's not one of the good guys, and
no.
There may be some people that he had on the good guys that got kicked out of that club by the end of the episode.
Yeah, I think he needs to look himself in the mirror and make sure he's actually one of those good guys. Just saying. But we get to the end, and Enzo lost. He went the slowest, so he's going straight in. But Enzo's from the streets. He's here for his money. If you didn't know, if it isn't about doo-doo pies, he's gonna be talking about, I'm just here to get my money. My money, yo. Like, come on, let's go. I don't care who's down there. I'll beat them. Especially if it's Danny, even though later on I'll literally say I was scared. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the word now anymore with us being reality after show. S-less. He's scared doo-doo pie-less.
Yes, there you go.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Of Danny being picked to go down there. But the winners are both by only a handful of seconds. Angela beating out Sarah and Ben beating out Leo. Ben's now at $6,000 qualified for the final. And Angela, who has cakewalked and has the easiest ride ever, sitting at the top of the mountain with $16,000.
Well, she hasn't earned her place. Maybe before the end of the end of the season.
I mean, like she only won with Tyson and with Kylan, and then won by herself. Trash. Yeah. Like Justine's better than people who have done the challenge in 20 years. Angela's just here.
She's the next coming of Anissa.
Oh, don't you dare. No, that went too far. That went too far.
Just for you, Alex.
No. You know what? I know Angela's not even listening to this, but I apologize. I apologize for this man for even invoking that word. Speechless. Thank God she's not covering the show.
That was just for you. It's a joke. No, sorry, buddy.
I hate this. I hate all of this. But okay. So we're post daily. We get Enzo with Ben and Angela. He has stitches. He thinks he only got 2, but he's gonna tell people 3 for the street cred.
Just got to bump up that number.
I want to know what his story is to people there. Like the bump up the street cred of like, oh, I jumped off to a platform and cut myself when no one else did. Or he's like, yo, man, I was on the water and then like I was doing this competition. Then the shark came and I had to fight a shark and the shark bit into my leg. Only needed 3 stitches though.
It's sometimes you got to spin the story a little bit.
Yeah, man, Shark was scared doo-doo pilot after I was done with him. But he doesn't really give a name. He's like, regardless, I make my money. Whoever you throw down there, I want my money. Like, that's essentially what his pitch is. It's like, I don't care. I want money.
I'd imagine, too, he'd feel pretty confident with the people that are there that it's probably going to be Leo.
Yeah. And then this is where we get something we haven't gotten on any of the episodes up to this point, and it's strategy talk. Social game. I love this scene, all this stuff prior to the arena. Like, we actually are getting new dynamics. Are we getting people's full, like, oh yeah, I'm 100 on board? No. But we're hearing options. And the pitch that's going on now is Angela pitches to Ben. If you can keep I will help keep the Survivor guys safe. If I win or if Alyssa wins and the Survivor girls win, none of you are getting thrown down there. Like, unless you want to go, unless Danny wants to go down to get his money. We will not throw any of you down there. We'll protect you because we want to run the final with you guys. In return, we need you guys to help us or help protect us from the Survivor women targeting me and Alyssa. Ben's uncomfortable by this, but he's allowing himself to be open to it.
Honestly, I maybe it's just Ben has never been one for the strategy, but you got to think that it's all upside for him, because as of right now, they have other options. So he doesn't have to betray Sarah or Desi. Probably won't have to. So I don't see where there's any downside for him moving forward with this.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's more open to it here. He's and he says I need to be making relationships outside of Sarah. And if I need to be a yes man, I'll be a yes man. And this is where we start seeing the scrambling happen. We hear him approaching Dom about it. We see Tyson talking with Danny. We see Alyssa and Angela talking with each other. And it's a lot of them are yeah, I would be open to this. I don't know how this all came about, but yeah, I'd be down. Why not?
Well,
it's an option.
As they are right now with the 6 of them, it makes sense for all of them. There's no one that it doesn't make sense for.
Right. And I don't know. We didn't see the full conversation, but I don't feel like Angela was saying, oh, and we will also target Sarah and Desi. Mm-hmm. It was more so just just protect us. There's still a couple of Love Island girls we can get rid of. I'm looking to the next episode. I'm Cachet, I love you, but you're in danger, girl.
Plus, this should be the easiest sell in the world. Dom, we're targeting the Love Island girls. He's done. Let's go.
You don't have to tell my wife that twice. This hose is for one woman.
Hope she didn't watch last night.
But David is always ready to go in, and he refuses to be blindsided.
And this is where I made the note that I fully expect David to be blindsided at some point before the season is over.
But he'll say he wasn't.
No, he's prepared. Always prepared.
Honestly, I want to have that reaction shot of someone visibly surprised, and not a fake surprise, a genuine shock face. Mm-hmm. And then it cuts to them confessional. I was expecting this the entire time. I knew I was going to do
too. David would be I knew this was coming.
But I'm dude, your face. Come on. You're literally begging no. Yeah, I knew. They go to the bar. This is where Ben gives cheers to his friend. And then we get Leo's pitch to Angela. And Leo's pitch is...
I know I've never won anything before, but if you keep me safe, I'll keep you safe.
Not even that. That's not even the part I kept. This is what I kept. He saying to Angela, you are my little angel / mermaid, and I will name my my 4th cat after you, because I already promised my 3rd cat to Alyssa.
The most shocking point of this was the fact that Leo doesn't already have 4 cats.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I took away from it.
Whatever house he lives in or his 3 businesses, each room has a cat at a minimum.
You would think.
Yeah. I hope his shitty businesses are doing okay. Since he stayed even despite losing $43,000 in a weekend. Due to something that can easily be fixed if you at least have contact sheets of who to call when a simple electronic breaks.
You'd think most bars would have a general manager or something like that.
No, that's him.
Take care of that.
He's the general manager, the CFO, the CEO, the owner. He probably gives himself the loans. He does it all. He's the customer.
It's got to be an interesting boardroom meeting with just him and his 15 cats being what do we think about today?
I also just want to know about, we never saw this deal about the 3rd cat with Alyssa. We need to hear Alyssa's side to all of this.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. We need to get to the bottom of this, because this is almost should be one of the last times we hear the word cat uttered on the show ever.
Please.
Maybe one day. But yeah, so we get through that. We then see Enzo talking to the girls. Desi, Sarah, and Kayla about his stitches. And this is where Sarah incorrectly says that no girl has ever gone against a man in elimination in challenge history, which I'm pretty sure happened in the first season.
Not only would she not be the only man to go against, or only woman to go against a man in elimination, she wouldn't be the first Sarah. Sarah Grayson did it twice in the original Gauntlet.
And won.
Yeah.
Both times.
She won both times. She won five total eliminations that season. And the first two people she went in against were males.
But, like, I get the bravado move of let me go against a guy and beat him. And then, like, just true. Because her thing this season at the very beginning was, I want to instill fear into everyone. So, like, her, like, the conception of a woman beating a man in a physical elimination should strike fear into the hearts of all the competitors. But here's the things, like, here's all the issues with her plan here. One, and she knows this, she won't qualify.
Mm-mm.
She'll be at 4,500 or something like that. Two, Enzo's the oldest person there.
Who is now hobbled.
He is hobbled as well. And 4, it's Enzo. Like, what? It'd be one thing if it was like Danny going in and Sarah saying like, oh, let me go up against Danny, which is also stupid. But as a viewer, I'd be like, sign me up. Let me see it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just a lot of her talking herself up. But I mean, as soon as it becomes, oh, this is Hall Brawl, no, you can't send Sarah down there. You can't do that.
It's so funny that, like, because this is the one. And the other issue is in today's day and age, whether we agree with it or not, cable television will not let any show do something where there's a physical elimination and a guy and a woman go up against each other. It does not matter what the conception is, because, like, let's be real, in an Enzo versus Sarah Hall Brawl, like, Sarah's demolishing him. And because, like, she'll stop in the middle and then do her, like, MMA stuff on him and break his, like, shoulder off, you know? And the arm's just, like, detached. But cable television's just not going to let you do that. It's the same thing in wrestling. Like, Jonny knows very well, like, one thing that gets a lot of people going is, like, an intergender match. They do it in the indie circuit all the time, men versus women. Because, like, it's staged. It's real. Like, it's real in sense of physicality, but it's staged. They will not do it on, like, a WWE or an AEW because it's on network television. Yeah. So just the producers themselves would be like, no, this isn't allowed to happen.
Well, yeah, especially going with it is, you know, going into it, it's a male elimination day. So if Sarah, like, that screws everything up for what they're going to do moving forward, where it's, you can just throw anyone down there.
Christina says if Sarah went against Enzo, she'll probably just nut punch him to get ahead. She also could do that. That is very true.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. I feel like she would want to do something more, like, more grueling than just a nut shot. But hopefully, if it's a nut shot, she'll also then say, like, well, Enzo, you did a very good job because those were some clean balls I just kicked because of Manscaped. Promo code Survivor. They love it when we do that. But do they? But yeah, so we hear that all happening. And honestly, if I was in Desi's shoes or Kayla, like, I know they like Sarah, but at the same time, I would also be like, oh yeah, do that. Great idea. Please. Like, I'm going to be the biggest hype person for you right now, because if you lose, this is hilarious. And you're no longer here, and that's one less competitor I have to worry about. Have fun.
Yeah, I get, you know, she's trying to do a little bit of an ego boost, but there's no logical sense to it whatsoever, on top of all the other reasons why we said this would never happen.
Yep. So this gets us to the arena. We see a hall, and they do a clever way of editing it at first, and with the camera angles, I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. And it's not until like you actually get to the bottom and they have the two people standing there that you're like, this is 5 feet.
Yeah, it's not long at all.
Like, I know it's hyperbole, but I felt like if I laid down, I would be like my feet would be at one end and my head would be at the other. Like it was junior league. It's like SpongeBob, you know, like the salty spittoon. That's your hall brawl. Like that's the epicness, the griminess, the hardcore. This is Weenie Hut General.
Well, that's CBS for you, because, you know, had it been Danny on the other side and you let him get a full running start, he may have murdered someone.
I feel like if it was CBS, it would be like a pie at the end instead of a bell. Like, oh, you had to hit your face into a pie in order to get the point. So at least they had a bell.
There was the bell.
Man, I think of like those epic challenge days where people have thrown people into the bell to ring the bell. And I wish we could have had something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's Hall Brawl. And Angela and Ben throw Leo in for many reasons. And I love Angela's line here. It's like, Sarah, maybe focus on winning challenges? Just a suggestion.
She hasn't done it. I mean, I do think that there's no one there that really wants to run against her in the final, but if she stays as she is, she won't be able to qualify.
Yeah. But we even see Ben. We even say Ben's like, there's so many reasons why this is just dumb. Like, I'm not letting you make a dumb decision here, Sarah. And it cuts to Sarah like, well, all I could do was try. It's like, oh, I'm disappointed that I knew I wasn't going to go in. And they were never going to let me go in, but I made people believe I was going to go in. I want to know how many people any casual viewer actually thought, oh, she has a real chance of going in. I'm on the edge of my seat.
No one. Absolutely no one.
It's interesting. But Leo's in. Leo calls everybody snakes again. Enzo and Leo being the Hall Brawl for this season, I'm devastated by. I'm like, you couldn't have picked like two people I care the least about in a Hall Brawl. Like, if you're gonna throw them in, I want it like wrestler style, like where Leo and Enzo are jobbers, and then you send in Danny like he's effing Goldberg, and he just like spears the other person through the hall and wins easily.
The only thing that this gives me hope for is now that it's single elimination, is we'll see more of the classic style challenge eliminations and not so much of these carnival games.
Yeah. So it's Hall. We got Enzo, who's hobbled, and Leo, who's a cat lion or catfish. Lion, cat, catfish. There's a lot of cats out there. A lot of felines out there. Leo's done some football, though. Yeah, maybe some MMA. Like, I'm going to wipe the floor with him. Maybe I'll go for his leg.
It's like, Leo, you're juking. You're running through a hall where you literally can't juke. So I don't know what you're doing here, bud.
And I will say, though, it's not that we haven't seen the smaller person win before, but the small person is even more at a disadvantage when you shrink the size of the hall. And you know, you don't want shrinkage, but unfortunately, Blue Chew's not one of our ads anymore, so I'm not going to make that joke. But regardless, with a smaller hall, for the smaller person, you need more of a lane to have momentum. Because you have less weight to throw around. You're the smaller person. The other guy's going to have the taller person's always going to be able to go in with the shoulder and just go down, where you're either needing to go even lower or go up. So you need to have all that running momentum, and you're not going to get that from 3 steps. And we saw in this, it was like 1-2 hit, 1-2 hit, and the bigger person is going to clog up the space and just hit you.
Well, not only on top of that, but it's the fact that you don't see Leo going low whatsoever, because that would have been his only chance.
Well, I mean, like, he was already low. You know, he's low like a cat. they're already looking up.
Yeah, it was.
I wonder if he ever thought about jumping over, because he'll land on his feet.
Maybe had there been around 3, he would have thought of that strategy.
But Enzo sweeps it 2-0. He was seeing nothing but reddies from the streets, the hard streets of Jersey. And he's now holding $11,000.
Yeah, and for, as short as that, Hall Brawl was, he clocked Leo pretty good the second round.
What's also funny is I believe now, it's the same amount of money as Tyson.
Tyson is 3, so he has 16,000.
Oh yeah, he has a third win. He does have that third win.
But I don't think I think Enzo's second on the men's side, though.
Yeah, with Kylan gone, he's second, which is crazy. That's insane.
Which also meant that coming into this, Leo was second with money.
Yeah. But Leo is before that, we have Kayla, who says, I love Kayla. I love her so much on this show. She says a line here that I absolutely despise on reality TV. So I do have to call it out very briefly. It's not her, it's the premise of Leo deserves to be here over those who haven't touched the arena yet to compete and stay. I'm sorry that Leo went out. I know you're both amazing race people. I get it. Like that, there's an emotion there. No one deserves shit on this in reality TV. No one deserves anything. You play to win the game. It's like if you go based off what some people believe is deserving, there's certain troll that played 4 times in Survivor and once in Australian Survivor who thinks he should have won 5 times.
Yeah, especially
because
on the challenge. Yeah, on the challenge, like it's okay. It's not fair. That's just how the game's going to work, and it's why you see there's someone every single season that's thrown into elimination a lot more than everyone else, and normally doesn't go well for him. Well, maybe if he created better social bonds, maybe if he had some self-awareness, there's a lot of reasons why Leo could have done better, but he didn't.
No. And this is where I really wish we had Jonny, because if anyone was believing whether or not TJ and or production did not like Leo, they really let him out to dry today. Yep. Leo, the big hero that he is, like he's the good guy, everyone else is the bad guy, is being a sore loser, looking absolutely pathetic, going, why would I go back out there and say goodbye to everyone and do what every single other person who's been eliminated has done. Xavier did it when he got betrayed by his literal friends in the game, like people that he knew from his season. Like Leo, you know none of these people.
No, even say what you will about Kylan being the company man, he smiled, waved, and ran off. Like,
okay, man. Well, you know what? I hope your businesses are doing okay.
Plus, if he's still losing,
need your cats, Alyssa and Angela.
If he's losing $43,000 a week, every weekend that he's not there, like all that money isn't going to make up for it anyway. Like he's still going to be in the hole. Might as well just go home.
But with that concludes the episode. And with it concluding the episode, we leave this now with only Danny and Sarah not having money to qualify. Everybody else does. And we've seen for the preview for next week, it's everybody's going after Alyssa and Angela, which means no one's going after Alyssa and Angela in that episode. They're going to talk about it, but nothing's going to happen there. I believe just because of the Leo of it all, this episode, the Enzo of it all, I feel like it might be Cachet's time. And like John says here, have to imagine Sarah goes down next week into the arena, since now no matter who you go up against, you'll make enough money to qualify. And you could sort of see a sacrifice, like a lamb sacrifice here. Cache the lamb just being sent down to the slaughter for an unreasonably physical comp, most likely, where you have Sarah just waiting there.
Yeah, the only way I don't think we'd see that would be if it would be someone like Alyssa or Angela lost, and they'd protect and saying, no, we're not throwing Sarah down against them because, we're the Survivor guys now, we're working with them, so now we'll sacrifice cachet or something like that.
Well, I think it would ultimately have to depend on which of the Survivor guys. Like, I think if Dom does it, he doesn't care. He'll throw Alyssa down there or Sarah down there or whatever he thinks his wife would approve of more. But no. Dom would still throw down a Love Island girl. He has options. And you don't want to have options. Don't let Mrs. Abate know this. Dom does not have options.
None whatsoever.
No. But before we head off, we're very close to the final. Based off what we've seen so far now, if you had to give top 2 picks for either for the men or the women for winners of the season, who are you thinking right now?
I mean, when it comes down to the women, I think it still has to be Angela or Sarah. And if you're going to the men, I don't see how it could be anyone outside of Tyson or Danny.
Yeah, I feel like I'll add a third person to the mix for both of those because I agree. I feel like for now you still have to have Ben in that conversation.
That's fair.
And for the women, I think the dark horse is actually Kayla. Just based off what I see, yes, she DQ'd today, but she's been a solid competitor besides today. Has won an elimination, has amazing race as her background, so I feel like she could do well in a final. So I feel like she's someone that people shouldn't sleep on. My prediction is either Sarah or Angela wins, but whoever wins, I think Kayla might be the runner-up.
I could see that. I mean, I think the women's side is a little bit more open, where I think the men's, it's probably going to be Danny or Tyson. But I mean, on the women's side, I also wouldn't be surprised if you saw someone like Justine finish second.
That's very true.
Out of the possibility.
Yeah, and you know what? We'll have to see what we find out next week for episode 9. But that wraps up today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As you saw earlier in our ad break, we have our new stuff for becoming a patron. I believe it's now realitypatron.com. If you want to become a patron, that's where you have some bonus coverage of we do a Q&A each week with Matt Bischoff and Jonny Fairplay, giving all types of fun stories that they've done throughout the week or throughout their lives in general. And you can ask anything and everything, as well as they are covering now Australian Survivor All-Stars as they bring Matt through Australian Survivor seasons past. But yeah, remember to like the video, press subscribe here, give us a 5-star review on your, if you're listening to us on your podcast, whether it's Apple or Spotify or whatnot, just give us a 5-star. Give Dan another congratulations for not cursing this week or using the F word. We're not doing the F word anymore. I'm very proud of him. Kiki's also very proud of you, Dan. I just want you to know that. I heard from her personally.
That means more than you know.
Yeah. But, with that, that's Dan Montchal. I'm Alex Trias. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
And for more bonus content, go to realitypatron.com. That's right, become a patron now. Get additional coverage of all your favorite shows, the weekly Q&A, and you become a member of the secret, exclusive Facebook group. That's realitypatron.com.